If we don't start making the corrections now, children will carry this into adulthood as early as interuterine age and perinatal age. So factors that contribute include birth weight, the sex of the child, what mom was doing during her pregnancy, the seasons, mom's access, mom's education, and also epigenetics. Now, the epigenetics I put in there because that's, new science, and they're kind of starting to understand that we are our grandmothers and our grandfathers, and a lot of what they have done in their life does affect who we are today. But that doesn't mean that you are set up for certain illnesses because grandmom or somebody else in the family line had them.
Tonight's Grand Rounds, I'm pleased to have a friend and colleague on, Dr. Palmer. Dr. Celeste Palmer is a board-certified pediatrician who has taken a particular interest in nutrition as a means of healing and maintaining overall health for her patients. Many of you know her from the Fresh Natural Live show. She's on with us most Monday evenings and makes valuable contributions to our discussions and help us bring the whole spectrum of the lifespan into our discussion in terms of human healing and natural healing and the like. She welcomes the challenges of common recurrent childhood illnesses and is often approached to help families with conventional and non-conventional treatment modalities. She does present a nutrition-based doctrine to her patients and their families regularly, has also performed several lectures on nutrition and health as part of a community outreach program in the Houston area. Tonight, Dr. Palmer is going to be educating us and informing us, I should say, on this topic of examining childhood obesity and modifying our nutrition for life. So welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. How was your day today?
It was good. That's good. I like the sunny days. I like the warm weather. So childhood obesity is a pretty serious issue that we don't really like to talk about. It's a sensitive area. I said, let's look at it tonight and let's speak on some real facts and let's look at some real statistics and kind of see where we are and where we're going and where we can go, where the possibilities are. So looking at our statistics right now, childhood obesity is an epidemic across the whole planet, not just here in the United States. It's tripled since 1975 up until 2016. Some of this information is a little bit dated, but I was trying to find information from WHO, CDC, and those references, and not just things that are on the internet. According to the WHO, childhood obesity is the most serious public health challenge in the 21st century. We're finding that it affects our children's health, physiologically and psychologically. So we know that physiologically, children are having cardiovascular issues, orthopedic issues, neurologic, liver, lung, renal. So every system is affected by obesity. Also, psychologically, we know that it is causing children to be depressed. They have body image issues now, anxiety, mood swings. All of these things are happening in adolescence and younger children also, not just in adolescence. So the literature says that the reason for it is not fully understood, and that doesn't mean that we don't know some of the contributing factors. That just means we haven't studied everything that creates obesity. So obviously we know that increased caloric intake is going to increase weight directly. But there are more complex health issues that we need to look at, and that includes our environment, that includes our lifestyle preferences, and that includes our cultures. So looking at the WHO information, in 1975, they actually said children between the ages of 5 and 19, there were about 1% of the population was considered obese. Now up in 2016, and again, this is dated, that is 6 years ago now, 6% of females, 8% of boys are considered obese. Now, spreading that even worldwide, and that's why I have this map here, China tops the list at more than 28 million. It's rising even more now because of the pandemic, up to about 24%. I found in a 2021 article. United States is coming in at number 2 at about 19%, and then you see the list goes on. The highest prevalence, though, is among the Pacific Islanders. That their area is much smaller, but they're up to 30% of their population of children between the ages of 5 and 19 is what they're looking at here. So let's define obesity. So we're not just looking at people and saying that this child is overweight and I'm guessing. This is a calculation. Body mass index is weight divided by height, weight in kilograms, height in meters squared. And this is how we get our BMI. In children, we do use the percentages. So this is color coded to make it easier to look at. On the right, we have boys, and on the left side of the screen, you have the girls. The green area is considered normal. Yellow is considered overweight. The red is considered obese. The blue at the bottom is underweight. This graph, the x-axis is age, the y-axis is the BMI, and this is how we plot every time the child comes in. We check their weight and their height, and we plot their body mass index. These graphs account for ages 2 up until 20. Some more statistics and numbers. So according to the CDC, between the ages of 2 and 19, childhood obesity has increased to 18.5%, and that was in 2016. I put 22% with the asterisk because that has increased since the pandemic. So this is a number from 2021. And just comparing adults to this, adults are people over the age of 20. They are up to 39.8% in 2016. And looking at children a little bit closer in groups of prevalence, so between the ages of 2 and 5, the rates of childhood obesity we're talking about is at 13.9%. Between the ages of 6 and 11, we're at 18.4%, and at 12 to 19 years old, we're talking about 20.6%. So basically what I'm trying to show here is that as the children are getting older, the rates are increasing. And now to throw a new factor in is the pandemic, as you mentioned. The pandemic, information is from January of 2018 to November of 2020. So here, what we're looking at is when you start in 2018, you kind of see things are a little bit flat. And I'm looking at 3 to 5 year olds and 6 to 11 year olds at the top. 3 to 5 year olds are more flat before the pandemic hit, and 6 to 11 year olds, they were rising slowly during that time. But then that is March of 2020 is when things started to increase a little bit faster for the 3 to 5 year olds, 6 to 11 year olds, and the 12 to 17 year olds. The 18 to 20 year olds have nicely stayed somewhat flat, but there is a little bit of increase there, but they've been more flat. But as you can see, that has increased the numbers. The pandemic, as of March of 2020, numbers for children started to increase for obesity. So how do we impact change and move into the right track for the future generations, for the future of our children? And the answer is real food. I mean, this is Dr. Montgomery's grand round, so you know where we're going with this. So real food. So oftentimes I'll ask parents or ask the patients, the children, what is food and why do we have to eat food? And most of the time they'll pause for a minute, and the parents will also pause and look at me. And it's not that they don't know the answer. It's just one of those things that we don't really think about. But the Britannica's definition of food is a substance consisting of proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and other nutrients that's used for growth, vital processes in the body, and also energy. So by definition, a lot of the things that we actually put in our mouth don't fit that definition. So it's not really food. And if we think about it and we know it, I like to think of food as a substance that carries information. So this is a really busy slide. I just put this on here to kind of make a point about the complexity of what food does. And this is our central nervous system. So this is a normal human, an adult or a child. It doesn't matter. These systems are the same. But you eat a food, the body releases catecholamine, other hormones. It sends a signal to the different organs. It sends a feedback to the brain. The brain says, okay, we're fed. We have enough food for storage. Our lipids look good. We have enough. We're digesting. The gut is clear. It does all of this. It sends a signal back to say, I'm satisfied, and we're done. So this is in a normal system that is working efficiently. In a system where someone is dealing with obesity, there are blockages. And you can see here, even in the fasting state, there's a blockage here. And then after they've eaten, there are many blockages here. So what that means is the signals of the body checking to see, did I get the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that I need with this meal? Do I have the storage that I need with this meal? Do I have, are my lipids in check? Do I get a feedback signal to tell the body that I'm not hungry anymore? That doesn't happen. So then the signal, it makes you feel like your body's asking you for more food, it's asking you for more nutrients. But since you're eating a chicken nugget, you eat more of the chicken nugget and you continue to not get the nutrients that the body needs. So then now you're overeating. And this is why you can overeat a bag of potato chips, but you're not going to overeat a bag of broccoli, for example. So perfect balance of nutrients helps the human body with digestion, healing, regeneration, strength, rest, relaxation, elimination, development, performance. And these are just some things that I came up with. The list goes on and on and on. It also, we have to think about not creating a problem. So some of the food that we're eating probably is helpful because it doesn't obstruct the GI system. But we know, in contrast, highly processed foods, they are devoid of nutrients, empty calories, but they also obstruct the system. So you have indigestion, you have slow healing, you have constipation. In addition, they send abnormal signals throughout the body, irregular growth, impaired cognition, developmental delays, slow metabolism. So these are things, again, that I'm seeing in pediatrics that used to be more so adult issues, but we're definitely seeing the same thing in pediatrics now. All right, now this is not a race, nor is it a diet. This is a whole lifestyle change. We want to get the whole family involved. We want to prep these children for a successful life, successful future, where they're not constantly having to be on different medications. They're not constantly having certain pains. They're not constantly having to try to figure out what next illness is coming in their life. Because if they're watching TV, or if you're watching normal TV, which I know children nowadays, people don't watch a lot of TV. I happened to be home last week and the TV is on, and every other commercial is a medication. And I'm like, when did this happen? I mean, I know pharmaceuticals had an area where they had a time where they started playing commercials, but now it's every other commercial, and it's overwhelming. But anyway, childhood is a time for learning. Also, adults need to learn in order to teach the children, in order to change this projection that, we've talked about here, as far as these numbers increasing, obesity increasing, comorbidities increasing. And so if we start with just baby steps, we can get there. So I hope that, I said something that motivates the people that are listening to this to make some changes, and make some serious changes in their family, if not for just the sake of themselves, for the sake of their children and future generations.
This has been great. Dr. Palmer, thanks again for leading such a great presentation. Dr. Palmer is one of our faculty. We'll have a number of other faculty guest members I'll bring from different areas of specialty and what have you over the course of the years. And Dr. Palmer will be back with other words of wisdom over time. So let's all unmute ourselves and give her a round of applause the old-fashioned way. You all get some rest, and you guys stay plant-based, stay raw, be physically fit, and stay real. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.